Hello and welcome. This is Power Wheel, your weekly power sector program from the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. The headlines. Minister inaugurates Mambila Power Project committees. TCN Ganduje signed Memorandum of Understanding for construction of transmission projects. TCN holds induction course for fresh engineers. On the interview segment, Mr. UG Mohammed, the Managing Director and CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, speaks on the implementation of the rehabilitation and expansion strategies for power transmission in Nigeria. Stay with us for these and other reports in this edition of Power Wheel. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. The Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Maman, has inaugurated 2 committees for the execution of the Mambila Hydropower project in Taraba State.
The first is the InterMinisterial Committee, IMSC, chaired by the Minister of Power, Engineer Maman, while the second is the Project Delivery Committee, PDC. The IMSC will finalize within 6 months the review of the project's engineering and technical design concepts to achieve optimal efficiency and benefit the immediate target market, the Northeast Geopolitical Zone. Maman, while inaugurating the committee at the Federal Ministry of Power headquarters in Abuja, said the acceleration of the project delivery was in fulfillment of President Muhammadu Buhari's promise to Nigerians on increasing access to electricity.
Following the gracious approval by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari for the constitution of the InterMinisterial Steering Committee and Project Delivery Committee for execution of the Mambila Hydropower Project in Taraba State in fulfillment of his electoral promise to Nigerians, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you most warmly to the formal inauguration. The InterMinisterial Steering Committee, chaired by my humble self, is tasked with facilitating seamless strategy coordination of activities for effective delivery of the project. This committee will be supported by a Project Delivery Committee, PDC, which will be responsible for overseeing the implementation of the project.
He said the committee is headed by Engineer Farouk Yabo, who is the Acting Director of Renewable Energy and Rural Power Access in the Ministry of Power. He also said prior to the inauguration of the committee members, the ministry took a number of critical steps to ensure the successful takeoff of the project.
These include effective collaboration with the Taraba State Government, commencement of the sensitization of the host community in the several local government of Taraba State, engagement of land surveyors to demarcate the project areas and commence enumeration.
On the project site acquisition, the minister said the federal government and the Taraba state government had already entered into an agreement on that.
We have also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Taraba state government for the implementation of the project.
The minister said Governor Ishaku Dairus of Taraba State will formally brief the press on the MOU the next day in Abuja.
The Taraba state government is expected to formally express their full support for the project. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the InterMinisterial Steering Committee and Project Delivery Committee, a comprehensive terms of reference detailing the roles of this important committee and their responsibilities is hereby provided as guides.
The Minister of State Power, Mr. Godi J.D. Agwa, charged the Project Delivery Committee to ensure they strive to deliver the project within the time frame.
I thank you so very much, Honorable Minister, and we thank Mr. President for his zeal and the desire to actualize this project this time around, after 40 years.
Responding, the chairman of the PDC, Mr. Farouk Yabo, thanked President Buhari for giving members of the committee the opportunity to serve.
I would like to confirm on behalf of many of the members that I have spoken with this morning that we are overwhelmed by this confidence that is reposed on us. Honorable Minister, sir, we are very much aware of the enormity of the challenge that is placed on our hands. Mambila hydropower project has been on the drawing board in the last 40 years. And so the terms of reference that were given to the InterMinisterial Committee, which we will be supporting, is well understood by us, and I would like to, on behalf of other members of this committee, assure the steering committee that we will do everything and anything within our powers to make sure this project is delivered and delivered on time.
Yabo highlighted the terms of reference that the Project Delivery Committee will be working with and those they are to achieve in the next 6 months.
We have defined 3 core areas that we have to accomplish within the next 6 months.
The Managing Director and CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, UG Mohammed, and Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje of Kano State have signed a memorandum of understanding for the construction of power transmission projects in the state.
Power reports that Governor Muhammad Abubakar Badaru of Jigawa State and Governor Aminu Bello Masari of Katsina State had signed their part of the MOU with TCN on the project which cuts across Katsina, Kano, and Jigawa states. During the MOU signing ceremony at the Kano Liaison Office in Abuja, Mr. Mohammed said the management team of TCN was there to brief the governor about the components of the MOU and to have him sign it.
We are here specifically to brief you and also to sign the agreement that will enable us to put a 132 kV substation in Dambata. Incidentally, I was told that His Excellency's town is not far from Dambata. So, Your Excellency, the quality of supply of your town will also significantly improve because it's a box supply that we put in Dambata, which is expected to be distributed.
The partnership will help TCN to construct 330 132 kV transmission line through Daura, Kazaure, Dambata, Babura, and 2x60 MVA 132 33 kV substation at Kazaure, Babura, and 2x60 MVA 132 33 kV substation at Mashi, with turn-in and turn-out Katsina Daura 132 kV transmission line at Mashi. The TCN boss said the partnering states will satisfy all right-of-way acquisition requirements and payment for compensation for lands in respect of the transmission line between Daura, Kazaure, Dambata, and Babura. They will also provide lands for the construction of the substations at Kazaure, Babura, and Mashi.
I believe that the collaboration we are doing in Kano is an excellent one. We want to bring back the glory of Kano. We believe that electricity is the most important invention of mankind, and we believe that as we expand the transmission network to Kano, solve all the inadequacies of power in Kano.
Mohammed said Kano is the center of commerce and that the problem of power supply in the state needs to be solved.
All the lost glory of places like Sharada, Bombay, and all Pashekara will come back, and all those businessmen will come back to ensure that they do. And that is the reason why, as at today, we are building 2 new 330 kV substations in Kano. You know, before we have Kumbozo, now we are building Rimi Zagara, and also we are building a 330 in Jogana. And we are working also to ensure that we upgrade the existing, even the substation that we have. The Kumbozo, we are increasing the capacity of Kumbozo with almost about 100%. We are also increasing the capacity of Dawashi by about almost 100%. We are also doing the same thing for Dakata. And in doing this, Your Excellency, we are going to require your collaboration.
Governor Ganduje, in his remarks, said the state was ready to play a key role in ensuring the delivery of the project.
There's no doubt that you are coming here, you are bringing good omen to the government and the people of Kano State. What brought you here is something that we have been dreaming of. We have been praying for, we have been looking for, and fortunately today we are face to face with a solution to our problem. As you know, that Kano is a commercial nerve center of the northern part of the country. It's a commercial nerve center of some West African countries. It's the most populous state in Nigeria, and it is the most peaceful state in Nigeria as well. So you can see how much we desire to bring Kano back to its former position of a high commercial area.
Governor Ganduje promised that he would raise powerful committee that will be involved in facilitating the right-of-way for the final touch of the gigantic projects.
We are ready to sign the memorandum of understanding. We are ready to abide by it, and you will see action immediately. I will discuss with my colleagues, the governors of Jigawa and Katsina, and see how we can put our heads together to see that the transmission is efficient and effective in our respective states.
Let's take a break for a message. We'll be right back.
Verify that land before you buy it. To drastically reduce the incidence of building under the transmission right-of-way or encroaching on designated TCN land, members of the public are hereby requested to verify land near or along transmission line route before purchasing it. Verification should be made in the Land Development Authority or at the TCN office. This would help in drastically reducing the incidence of building under transmission line right-of-way and save us all the problem of pulling down the structure or truncating transmission line expansion projects in your community due to court injunction. Help us serve you better. Verify that land before you buy it.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has held an induction course for the fresh in-house engineers at its headquarters in Abuja.
At the opening ceremony of the induction course, the Managing Director and CEO of TCN, Mr. UG Mohammed, said the current management of TCN has laid a structure that could sustain the company and drive capacity development.
Most of the achievement that we have done, we did it through the galvanized staff. We told staff that they have to do the work and that we need to see how we can reduce costs by cutting down expenses. Some of the job that we give contractors to do is better we do it ourselves. When we do it ourselves, what are we doing? We are reducing our costs, and that's what will make us to pay good salary. At the same time, we are also empowering our staff, because any job you did, you are learning from that job. Is that not so? Yes, sir. So if you install a transformer, you are learning from the installation of that transformer.
He gave the highlights of the achievements by TCN using the in-house engineers whose capacity is being developed continually.
As of today, out of the slightly above 800 containers that we have in the port, we have recovered 790 of those containers. Now, empower TCN engineers to install those equipment and transformers across the network. And that is why, as at yesterday, we installed 69 high voltage power transformers across the network. And as of December 2018, when we did last simulation of the grid, we expanded the grid from 5,000 to 8,100 megawatt. So that is the TCN that we have come to join.
Mohammed tasked the newly recruited engineers to put in their best towards the advancement of TCN.
So try and be very, very serious so that you learn to work, so that you will become among those people that will work in the areas where intelligent people are working. Thank you very much.
In his charge, the head independent system operation engineer Mamman Lawal said the engineers are in the best place to deliver their best.
Our expectation is that you avail us your time, and you give us the requisite attention so that you can make the best out of it. I will plead, dear GM, that you make available to them the program layout so they are adequately guided at the set out for this program.
The head transmission service provider, Engineer Victor Adewumi, in his address said the engineers should expect to experience all the technical things they were taught at their institutions and should be ready to acquire the experience.
Your knowledge of electrical system, electrical components in your school, symmetrical components, single phase faults, double phase faults, symmetrical faults, all these will come to bear when you enter that department. So if you have forgotten it, you better go and revise it. Without that knowledge, you cannot apply protection. Protection comes in so many ways. All this power we are talking about, how do I know that it's only one arm that is flowing in a particular circuit? You can only know by metering. Metering is not just about the meter in your house. Voltage metering, current metering, power metering, you come across all of this. So gentlemen and ladies, on behalf of the transmission service provider of TCN, I want to welcome you to the Transmission Company of Nigeria. And I wish you well as you begin your career today.
The Executive Director, Human Resources, Mr. Justin Dudu, said out of the 3,000 applicants, 200 people were recruited, saying it was a privilege for the newly recruited engineers to serve in TCN.
Mr. Yuji Mohammed is the Managing Director and CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. In this interview, he speaks on the implementation of the rehabilitation and expansion strategies for power transmission in Nigeria.
You became the interim chief executive of the Transmission Company of Nigeria in 2017, February precisely.
Yes, please.
And by February 2018, the president confirmed you as the substantive chief executive.
For 4 years, yes.
Now this is about the third year as helmsman at TCN.
Yes.
Can you give us a rundown of the key, landmark achievements?
Thank you very much. When we came in 2017, transmission was the weakest company in the power value chain. I remembered the first meeting we had when I came in 2017, February. We had a meeting in Ibadan, and all the meeting was centered around transmission, because transmission was seen as the weakest in the power value chain then. But when we came, we had to come up with a program on how to recover TCN from being the weakest in the power value chain. And we, first of all, did what we call 20-year least cost transmission expansion plan, which was done by Mrs. Fichtner of Germany. To the best of my knowledge, this is the first time in the history of Nigeria that kind of study was carried out. Now, on the basis of that 20-year least cost transmission expansion plan, we came up with a 4-year program which we will call Transmission Rehabilitation and Expansion Program, which has the following development objective: to rehabilitate, upgrade, provide necessary redundancy and flexibility consistent with N-1, and expand the grid to at least 20,000 megawatts by 2022. I want to tell you that we are still on target in implementing that program.
What efforts is TCN making to deliver on the SCADA project?
SCADA is supervisory control and data acquisition. I want to tell you that transmission, TCN, is actually made of two companies: transmission service provider and system operation. The two companies are eventually going to be separated. But one of the key conditions precedent for the separation of the two companies is having a functional SCADA. I want to tell you that Nigeria has attempted to have functional SCADA 3 times. And 3 times we are not entirely successful. And 3 times we attempted to have SCADA in the past. 3 times we have the same contractor. So what did we do? What we did when we came newly is to set up a committee to find out the reason why we have not had a functional SCADA, despite the fact that we signed 3 contracts in the past, and none of them were successful. And some of the findings of that report include the fact that the communication backbone was weak, meaning the communication of TCN, we have fiber on our network. They were outsourced to 2 companies. Those 2 companies are supposed to pay $40 million each. One pay 3.5, the other one pay $2 million. And they run the asset for 12 out of 15 years. They are also expected to pay 2.5% of their turnover as royalty. None of them paid anything. And they are supposed to invest in the network. Because when they took over the asset, the fiber have a lifespan. They took undertaking that they are going to invest to upgrade the network. But what happened is that they are supposed to use half of the fiber for their business and half they give TCN. What is happening is that they didn't invest in the network, and in areas where the half spoiled, they took the half of the TCN and they used it for their business. So in that respect, it's become very difficult for us to have automated system because we don't have communication backbone. But I want to tell you that we have since cancelled those contracts. And all we need to do to fix the communication backbone, we are doing, including the fact that all the lines that we are rehabilitating and we are building newly, we are not even putting the low-level fiber like ADLASH or SDH. We are putting OPGW, which is the highest standard of fiber. That's what we are putting. And we have also decided to train our staff in such a way that we don't make some of the mistakes, because it's highlighted that our staff were not properly trained by that committee. It was also highlighted that there are a lot of deficiencies in the control room. So all rehabilitation that I'm going to talk to you further about, I would include every substation we are upgrading. We are actually digitalizing the control room to make them ready for SCADA.
TCN is investing hugely in rehabilitating old power transmission lines and substations while building new ones. Can you expatiate more on this?
To make TCN a reliable company is what we call critical investment in line and substation. Under that arrangement also, we discovered that there are a lot of equipment that are abandoned in our substation and some in the port. I want to tell you that when we came newly, we met over 800 containers that were stranded in the port. Some of those containers have been there for about 10 years. As of today, we have recovered 795 of the about 800 containers from the port. But what we did is that we empowered TCN engineers to install equipment and transformers across the network. And I can tell you, they were doing this installation at the rate of about 10% of the time we used to pay contractors, and about 10% of the cost that we used to pay contractors. I can give you an example. There is a transformer, 60 MVA transformer we were supposed to install in Bauchi, which was awarded to a contractor in 2010 at the cost of 220 million naira. And the contractor abandoned after the project after collecting 10% of the contract. I can tell you, TCN engineers successfully installed that transformer, and it was commissioned since 2017, late 2017. That transformer was installed with only 50 million naira. And they completed the job in less than 1 month.
That is it on this edition of Power Wheel. Do join us next week for another refreshing edition. This episode and previous ones are available on our YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can interact with us on these other platforms. I am Chiwenwa Anyao. Enjoy the rest of your day.